It is August 26, 2025, and we have reports of haunted dolls hacking into Amazon's Alexa. This is Inverted World Live. Welcome back, everybody. This is Inverted World Live, and I am your host, Shane Cashman. We are so glad you are here with us at this 10 o'clock hour on this wonderful, spooky late night show. It is a call-in show. We will get to calls in about 30 or so minutes. The link will be pinned in the chat on Rumble and YouTube. If you've got some dark story you want to share with us, something that's happened to you in your life, if you've encountered something you just can't explain, you want to get it off your chest, give us a call. It's audio only. And we will have your disembodied voice broadcast out into the internet for all of us to hear your wild encounters. There's no theme. You can talk about anything. And you can also call in and let us know about something you thought about that we brought up, whether it's about haunted dolls or some of the other things we are getting into. And of course, if you're seeing this sign right here on the desk with me that Brandon made, this is because our 100th episode is coming up this Thursday somehow. I don't know how that happened. Feels like I'm having my own missing time situation. I went to bed and woke up and 100 episodes happened. And it's been a fever dream, but a really good one. And I'm so glad you guys have been here to experience it with me. I am, of course, joined by Brandon.
What's up, Shane? What's up, everybody? My name is Brandon Miner, your producer, co-host / guy in the chair official for Inverted World Live. Welcome back. Like Shane said, we got lucky number 100 coming up on Thursday. That, my friend, is because we have massively accelerated our timeline
a little bit
with pumping out shows for the week. So we've gone from 1 to 4 shows a week.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
And the weeks have been flying by, which is also really, really cool. We've been having a lot of fun. So again, thank you guys all for hanging out and watching. Thanks to all our callers and all of our guests. We are super stoked for Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday's going to be fun.
But we still have no idea what the hell we're going to do.
No. Do we ever?
we kind of just wing it.
I know some people are going to stop by when they can, if they can.
Yeah.
It is crazy to think about how fast we've gotten to 100 after we accelerated the schedule. And then thinking about how this started, for those, I think there's some of you out there who've been here since day one. And to think, I used to write like these novels. Every week I'd write like 10,000 word stories and then record them and put them up. And Jessica, our artist here, would illustrate them. And Alex, who used to sit in Brandon's chair, would edit and put out and produce the audio. And that was a weekly thing we did for like 2 years. So and we put those in the books. So there's those 2 Inverted World books that exist. They're on Amazon right now. The first one is about different stories, what is the one that I think the popular one from that book is the corpse that dances in Hell's Kitchen, about the guy whose brother was assassinated by crooked cops dealing with the Irish mob. And so there's a bunch of different standalone stories in that. And then the second one is my time in Georgia with a wonderful family as they let me stay on their property and investigate the Confederate gold that had gone missing in that town. So we did that for quite some time, and then it was kind of awesome to just go to a once a week show where we could do this. I gotta say, a little easier, not having to write 10,000 words a week. I didn't have to write 10,000 words a week, but anyone who's read my stories knows I can't help but write really long stories. It's a curse, but it's been so much fun getting to do that, and now seeing where the show is now, having Brandon in the room, and all you guys out there in the chat. It's incredible to see how this show has evolved, and I'm just so glad you guys are here with us. And what do we got today for you? Today we got something that I meant to talk about last week, because it just Alex sent me this one, and I couldn't let this one go. So we got this in the star, the lovely star. Woman living with 54 haunted dolls. I'm just going to stop right there. That's only half of the headline. That alone is a problem. I'm sorry. No one should be living with 54 haunted dolls, but I digress.
It's like
that's a lot, right?
It's like let alone this lady.
Is that is she a doll? Is she haunted?
She looks like she has an OnlyFans.
I hope not at all, but especially hope not with the dolls.
$54. That's 54 episodes, my man.
Oh my goodness. She claims that they hack into her Amazon Alexa. So she claims she practices paranormal safely, and she's collected these 54 haunted dolls in her home. And she says the pesky toys often hack into her Amazon Alexa. Let's see what this is all about. It just felt nice to come back to Earth for a little bit. So much aggressive probes heading our way from fake space. You know, I love hearing from Sergeant Peyton. That was a wonderful phone call. But that is like really existential dread, abstract dread. But let's just ground it here with the good old stuff, like a haunted doll. Not just one, 54. A woman who lives with 54 haunted dolls has revealed the shenanigans her collection of possessed toys gets up to, including hacking into her Amazon Alexa. Collector Tej, that is the name that they gave us, Tej, T-E-E-J, who works as a paranormal investigator, has been collecting ghoulish items for the past 5 years and now shares her home with dozens of them. Is she going to fall in love with Matt Rife? Like, this is a love connection in the making. For those who don't know, Matt Rife, the comedian, not Matt Rife of Rife Technologies. Matt Rife, the comedian, purchased Annabelle the doll in that whole house.
He's got the entire Ed and Lorraine Warren's property and a cult museum.
Yes.
And I believe, I did a short on this at one of the Culture War shows. I believe it was, I can't remember if it was, I think it was 700, I want to say 700 haunted artifacts that they are now, they own I believe they own the home, but they are the caretakers of these artifacts for at least the next 5 years, including the Annabelle doll. So what that means is that people are going to be able to visit the museum, as he said, like investigate, the property, things like that, and see all of this stuff. And I really want to drag Shane out to this thing.
Yeah, I'm game. And, I don't trust it, but I'm game. I'm trying to get him on the show.
I need to see this for myself. I really do.
We'll get him on the show. I will say I have been ghosted by Snake, what was it, the Bigfoot hunter? So,
I wonder if it's because he knows we found out who he was.
We doxed him. It was bound to happen.
Shout out to Arthur Foxsake for the info on that night, because he caught it before I did.
That was wonderful.
I couldn't find the guy when I was looking for him, and I didn't think to look under a completely different alias.
What did we learn about him? He started the spooky clown phase.
He impersonated Justin Bieber.
Yes. Got sued for it.
He had a bunch of shenanigans in a Bigfoot costume.
Yep. Got shot at.
He got shot at in a Bigfoot costume and then was never seen in said Bigfoot costume again, which is ironic.
Interesting.
You don't believe in coincidences, so I don't think that was a coincidence. But
Snake, you're still invited to come on the show. We haven't heard from anybody who's been to the fair.
No.
I think it's still going on. It might be over now, actually.
No.
But if you have been to the New York State Fair, you should call in and let us know if you've seen the Bigfoot that Snake the Bigfoot hunter.
You can even throw it in chat for all I care. Just say, we would love if somebody actually went to see this thing. And I know some people in chat were talking about doing it. I still haven't seen anything yet, so I'm super curious. Maybe we should have gone.
Yeah, we should have gone.
And just confronted him directly.
On
just
the ground
say, hey,
reporting.
Snake, what's up, man?
We dress like clowns and freak him out.
Yeah.
But all it's to say is we're working on Matt Rife, and it seems like Matt Rife and this girl have a lot in common. Anyway, having first connected with the other side in childhood, Tej says she isn't afraid and has largely positive interactions with spirits. So much so that she has given them a dedicated room in her house. Imagine going to that house. And Tej lets them play with the lighting. Frolic in the fridge, that is what it says in this article, and even take over her electronics, playing their favorite songs on her Alexa speaker. But Tej has a list of rules they must abide by before she agrees to let them reside with her.
This is ridiculous.
I'm going to give you guys that long, loud breath in.
I did the same thing.
Jinx. We clearly explain our expectations. No harm to us, our pets, or anyone who visits the house, the U.S.-based collector said. The only formal step we take when welcoming a new haunted doll is setting verbal boundaries. While we've never had an issue, it's something we do out of precaution, since every new spirit is an unknown until we get to know them better. Now look at this picture. What do you make of that? That duck is certainly possessed. The duck with the hat.
How much money would it take you, Shane Cashman, to sleep one night in that room with the light on? The light stays on.
$2.
That's actually.
I'm not afraid.
That's.
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
That's not actually. That's completely affordable.
I'll do it. I'll do it for free. I'll do it for free. As long as she's not there. I'm more afraid of her. She is giving me Annabelle vibes, and she probably would like that we said that. But if she's not there, I don't care. I don't think these dolls are going to do anything. That would be crazy, though.
This is still kind of a sketch situation.
I mean, and that's just, a one corner of this room. The only formal step we take when, I read that, because they want to get to know them better. We also ask that no exterior doors or windows be opened, mainly to ensure our pets stay inside. And believe it or not, we've had to add a rule about not blasting music at TV at full volume. That one came from experience, says Tej. Once I came home to find a movie playing so loudly that I could hear it from the street, so we had to put a stop to that pretty quickly. So she's raising these things. This is one step beyond the creepy dolls we talked about a few months ago, about the ladies who, in their grief, and it's a horrible thing to think about, these women who have lost children, have turned to collecting these very lifelike dolls. And those, if you think these are creepy, those dolls are way worse.
Those were absolutely terrifying. I actually felt
worse.
Uncomfortable looking at those pictures.
So a favorite memory of Tej's with her collection of 54 strong came while she was filming a TikTok. She said, just as I was wrapping things up and telling everyone I was about to log off, music suddenly started blaring from my Alexa downstairs. I went to check, and sure enough, a Queen song was playing. Fittingly, that's the favorite band of my haunted teddy bear, Jeremiah.
Yeah, keyword there, TikTok.
A most haunted place. You think that's Jeremiah in this photo? It doesn't say.
Like in the little guy with the chain here. Do you see him?
Yeah.
That's who's got me right now. Like,
it looks like we used to call
that
those
dude's story?
Cupid dolls at the tattoo shop. Those little dolls people get tattooed on them.
Yeah.
She says, I went to check and sure enough, Tej has been fascinated by spirits since her first dramatic encounter back when she was in the first grade at school, aged 6. She and her family, who are also keen ghost hunters, so there you go, were also using an ovilus, a device purporting to turn environmental energy into words that appear on a screen. Why did you pull that picture? That is terrifying. I don't like these dolls. I don't think I'd sleep in that room now.
$2, man.
Look at that. I take it all back.
You can't go back on the quote now.
I take it all back.
It doesn't work like that. That's a verbal contract.
So she said, out of nowhere, the ovilus said, get out of the way fast. We didn't wait. We moved immediately. Right after we cleared the area, a car whipped around the corner. It was really dark, and if we hadn't moved, there's a good chance we could have been hit. That moment stuck with me, not just because it was my first clear experience, but because it felt like a spirit was trying to help us. And there you see another doll. That was the first time I felt like a spirit interaction was actually positive, and that's something I've kept in mind ever since. It's a big part of why I'm now interested in haunted dolls, specifically ones with positive energy. How do you determine the positive energy? That early experience shaped the way I look at the paranormal today. Since starting her collection in 2020, Tej has met dozens of haunted toys, spending time researching their stories online and traveling to exhibits to meet them. When she discovered individual collectors online, she realized it was something she could do herself. What do you think she does for a living?
It said she was a paranormal investigator.
Is that it?
Is that like?
That, good for her. That's awesome.
What's the money like in that nowadays?
I don't know.
Are we technically paranormal investigators? And if so,
I think we need a raise. Look, I don't have enough dolls. I don't have enough for 54 dolls.
Maybe we need to be licensed or something. What are we missing here?
There's a school we should go to. However you become a Ghostbuster.
We don't have TikToks.
That does help. You do need TikTok.
Or an OnlyFans.
Too bad I've been kicked off of it 3 times. I'm definitely not doing the latter. However, she only collects known haunted objects and won't purchase dolls from antique or thrift stores, even if she senses they house a spirit, as they often haven't been thoroughly investigated, and the spirit could be malevolent. I choose to work only with positive spirits in my home because of the relationships that naturally develop over time. Is this person, what do you guys think? Is this person sick? Do you think there's something to this? Have you experienced a haunted doll? I have seen what I thought would be a haunted doll and people who believed it was a haunted doll. It didn't do anything in my presence, but it was super creepy. Many of these spirits have a genuine desire to communicate and be acknowledged, she says, and that opens the door to meaningful and respectful connections. We treat them with respect, and in return, they do the same. Our interactions are often lighthearted, and much of the paranormal activity in our home is playful, sometimes even meant to make us laugh. Just as importantly, she says, I'm mindful of safety. When I investigate haunted locations, I always have the option to leave. But my home is my safe space. I don't know if I agree with all those dolls. And she says, I won't risk inviting in any spirit that could bring harm or disruption to me or my family.
How do you know?
How do you know?
How do you know?
She's experienced. She's an expert.
I mean, look, if you're randomly bringing these dolls into your home, I mean, what are they filling out job applications? Like, have you vetted them to a certain degree before they've entered your home? So that it's no different than this probe or whatever the hell is coming at us being menacing. How do you know?
Right. Yep. I mean, she seems to have some sort of process.
If you've already invited it into your home and you find out later, then that's a different story, which is what I kind of assumed would happen here. And maybe I'm a dick for assuming, but that's just, in my head, that just seems like that's, the way that this would go. And I don't see that being something that's rejectable in this kind of state. Like, are you able to rescind a spirit you've invited into your home after it's already been invited? Is this like vampires? Like, how do we treat this?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have to try to talk to her sometime. By setting clear boundaries, I'm able to stay open to paranormal experiences while still protecting the comfort and peace of our home. So far, I haven't had any negative experiences with the haunted dolls in my collection, other than the ones that I guess are hijacking her Amazon. But
that's apparently she's consented to that.
That's okay.
But just keep the music at a decent volume.
It's their favorite song. It's their favorite song.
Also, here is my Apple TV account, my Netflix account. Just don't have it up too loud.
My thing is the Alexa. And we talked last week with, we had our caller from Vegas. I'm spacing on her name. Kathy? Was it Kathy? No. I'm so sorry. I don't remember your name. From Vegas, if you're listening. And she told us about the Roomba. Was it her who told us about the Roomba?
Yeah.
It took like pictures or something.
Yeah, I'm not recalling.
And then you pulled up the article about a Roomba taking pictures.
Yeah.
And Alexas are something I've heard Tim talk about quite a bit over the years. Alexas are always on. I just typed in Alexa spying on Google.
There are plenty of reports of
always listening.
Shit getting out there on Alexas for sure. I've caught mine randomly, just like I used to have it up for a little bit because I was using it to control music and stuff in my like little tiny ass condo back in Chicago. And I used to leave it on, and it would randomly just light up in the middle of what I was saying because it thought that I had said something like its name, and anything that remotely sounds like its name cues it up to start recording and listening.
Right.
Even if it just shuts off afterwards, that's a clipped recording that's going on a server somewhere. So yeah, God knows what else it was doing,
I'm more worried about those things than the dolls. I think those things are haunted.
Those things in your cell phones are honestly very, very dangerous.
It's unfortunate, and
they're always by you.
Always. I just when I typed in Alexa spying on Google, the AI overview told me, while Amazon states Alexa doesn't record everything, the device constantly listens for its wake word, like you're saying, and can accidentally trigger recording conversations that are then sent to Amazon's servers, which is, to me, like a crazy situation of everyone's voices. Even if you don't have an Alexa, you go to some place that has an Alexa. Now your voice is like input into the data center for Amazon. And what do they do with it? I'm sure it's kept somewhere. Guaranteed. They say they don't record. Of course, it's somewhere.
It's probably backed up and deep sixed somewhere in a vault.
Teaching AI.
And if anything ever gets subpoenaed, or whatever other permissions people have to come withdraw those recordings, bet your ass they probably got them logged.
So what's funny about this AI answer with Google is that first sentence says, Amazon states Alexa doesn't record everything. Everything is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence.
I feel like there should still be an asterisk next to that because it's like, okay, prove it.
Because the second part of this paragraph says, these recordings are used for improving the service. So
improving whose service?
Okay, so you're definitely recording something, and what are you doing with it? It's improving your Alexa. But I think, who, like when we're talking about, I think it was when we had Joe on last week, we were talking about the Meta whistleblower, and she testified that Meta uses their algorithm to look at anything and see what they can sell you. So if like a young girl deletes a profile picture or selfie, they interpret that, the algorithm interprets that as she must be sad. And then they alert the advertisers who then are like, if she's sad, she's going to buy something. So inundate her with these ads. And I feel like that's what's going on with a lot of this stuff, but also more nefarious reasons. I guarantee you there's some backdoor for the government to come in and check out anything. And they can probably do like a Command F situation on a word, and just see who said just this one word,
And if you guys haven't experienced this, I would assume you're some of very few people that haven't. And if you're feeling adventurous, by all means, pull out your phone right now, hold it next to you. You don't even have to turn it on and say, you know what? I need a new refrigerator. I'm thinking about buying a refrigerator.
Oh, yeah.
Where can I buy a refrigerator? Let your phone hear that even without you recording it.
Yep.
Give it a little bit. Scroll through social media, and I shit you not, you will very likely see refrigerator ads.
Yep. When
Real thing.
Nancy told me she was pregnant with our first, we both had iPhones, and within that same day, we were getting ads for like baby stuff, and we hadn't done anything yet. Like it was like we just found out, just the test just happened, and the phone was already like, oh, we got you all hooked up. But that's the stuff that really bothers me. The dolls, not so much. Everything, always listening. And I say it here while I have my phone and I'm talking to everyone out there. Obviously, I'm being recorded. But it's like everywhere you go, you're inundated with this. And I just feel like at some point, right now, it's being consolidated into something to be used against you at some point. And I think, like I said, there is some probably backdoor access for the government to go in there and be like, we need access to so-and-so's Alexa. What are they saying? To the phone, to the spy satellites. We've had Ashton Forbes on the show. It's been like 2 years now. Oh, no, a year ago when Ashton was on talking about the Lockheed Martin spy satellites that do the global heat mapping, where they basically can just record Earth in real time, all the time, everywhere. That's alarming. So it's like, okay, you can get rid of your phone and do your best to avoid it, but I don't think there's any avoiding these things listening in on you. And it's nothing new, unfortunately. You can go back and look at things like Project Echelon, COINTELPRO, when the government was literally wiretapping everyone to figure out who was a communist and whatnot. And I get it, I don't like communists either. But it's that slow erosion of rights and privacy. We're not going to have privacy. We don't have it right now. It's going to get way worse, especially, did you see that story about a year? Was it a year ago? I think it was last year. Everyone's social security card or number was leaked into the dark web. So like, that's not even safe. Nothing is safe. And with quantum computing it's going to be taking over. It's going to become more prevalent very soon. What they say with what people can do with that stuff and figuring out passwords, you're done. I mean, there is no hiding anything. There's no privacy. They will eat up everything of yours. And that's the stuff that's like when I'm talking about these machines, the dolls, that's spooky stuff. The real spooky stuff is the machine that is feeding off of you for all types of nefarious reasons, whether it's just for advertising or whether it's for the government to make a profile of you. And why would they do that? Because we already have places right now in the world, such as the UK, that are building pre-crime units so they can try to predict who is most likely to commit a homicide. It is a homicide pre-crime unit. It's not the stuff of sci-fi anymore. It is happening in the real world, and stuff like AI Lavender, which we've talked about on the show a bunch, what Israel's using in Gaza. And the IDF says, oh, it's not like that. They have their own story, but there's other stories saying that they're lying. So, you go look up all the stories to get your opinion how you feel about AI lavender. But basically, AI lavender determines who gets blown up and who doesn't. And according to certain reports, it says there's a 10% error rate. And that's a pretty big error rate for the machine. You know, there's going to be error rate in humans, of course. But to let the machine do a lot of this decision making based on names, based on photographs, that is just horrible stuff. And then other things that they're doing in terms of your privacy is Clearview AI scraping the internet of every picture ever on the internet. So even the people in the background of a photo that you took when you were a tourist in Manhattan, you have been submitted to the Clearview AI facial recognition app, and that's just one of those companies. And you know that will be used at some point in nefarious ways. And the thing that bugs me the most, other than that, this bugs me equally, is people got really upset when they found out that that was happening. And the CEO of Clearview said, as a corporation, they have their First Amendment right to express themselves to do that. And then that's funny thing about last night. We had this whole free speech debate with Pozo and with Andrew Wilson. Super fun. I personally don't think that right. We didn't talk about this on the show, but you know, in terms of free speech, I don't think that right extends to a corporation to use free speech in a way to erode our privacy. I do think that's a problem, but it doesn't seem like anyone really cares because they're doing it at an accelerated clip right now. So you know, all these things are just constantly listening, and as we get a year or two into this stuff, I'm very interested to see how this changes policing in this country, how this changes or how this starts the social credit system. So, you know, you're safe in your house with your dolls, but your Alexa is the big problem, in my opinion. I don't have one. I don't even have a TV. But again, I also have a phone. So there's no escaping it. There's nothing I can do. You know, when I was doing this, I did this story on an FBI whistleblower at the end of last year, and the FBI destroyed her life. And she was very anxious on how we corresponded, rightfully so. She'd been in the FBI for, I guess, like 2 decades at that point, almost 2 decades. And going to meet her, you know, I was having her anxiety because I'm like, I don't want to bring this down on me now. But you know, I thought the story was important enough where I was willing to take that risk. But like, the FBI could certainly put a stop to that story, and that's a whole other thing because the story was kind of killed. That's a story for another day. But anyway, on the way,
I was going to say, now I'm wondering about the story.
The story was killed. I'll get into it in a minute. But like, on the way to meet her for the first time, I'm like, oh, there's a camera. There's a camera. The stoplight has a camera. The stoplight has a camera. The Dunkin' Donuts has a camera. Everywhere. So I'm seeing myself already like a digital map of my map on my way to her. There's no avoiding it. And like, so I understand her anxiety, and I understand they can listen to everything all the time. There's no evading it.
That's like 5 different CCTV angles basically on you.
Yeah,
at any given point in time.
But then my phone, you know, so if they really wanted to, like, they could do it. The story was supposed to be published. It was accepted by a place. I'm not going to name names yet, but like, it was accepted at this place. The goal was I wanted to help this lady really badly. Nice lady, blew the whistle on her boss, on her employer, the FBI, for doing horrible things, unethical things to conservative-leaning FBI employees, but also unethical things within their technology on how they go about their database stuff. So kind of the stuff we're talking about right now. And she thought there was all these weird loopholes they were doing that, in her opinion, led to a lot of the incompetence that happened in Butler, Pennsylvania on the day of the assassination attempt. So not so much, she's not saying so much as like that led to the assassination, but she was watching the total incompetence within the FBI and their quote unquote surveillance state. It was totally eroded and corrupted. So she called that out a long time ago, and they just destroyed her with lawfare. They suspended her. I put out the story individually eventually, but I have a much smaller platform than the place that was going to publish it. And I was stoked for her because I started talking to her around like October last year, and she was suspended officially at that point after years of all this lawfare. And then the craziest thing was I had the story written, pretty much ready to go. My last bit of like reporting was me watching Kash Patel testify to become the FBI director. This is how it went down. I'm at a library watching Kash testify, and as he says, I will protect whistleblowers, my whistleblower subject of the story called me and said the FBI just fired me. Don't think that's a coincidence, because I think they were cleaning house. They're like, this lady's a problem, got to get rid of her.
Well, you see a lot of like those shows and stuff like that that happens all the time, where they're just like, hey, we got to
pull the plug now.
We got to pull the plug on this, and to the point to where they're killing off some of these assets just to make sure that they're burning the paper trail.
It was a bummer. And she, look, to her credit, she liked her job. I don't like the FBI, but I do know there's people within all these places that do want to do good. And she's a nice lady, church-going lady. And she thought she was serving her country, and she believed in it until she saw how corrupt it was.
That's a government salary too, ain't it?
Oh, yeah. She was doing well. And she wasn't alone. A year prior, there were other whistleblowers saying the same thing, and their lives were also destroyed. So that happened. She's fired. And then the place that was going to publish it just completely ghosted me. It was the strangest thing. Now, I've definitely had places reject stories. That's normal when you're freelancing. But that situation was bizarre because it was a pretty big deal, and I would think it was an easy win for this administration to help a whistleblower out. And, it's all the things, a lot of the things I care about, how the FBI is weaponized against the people, how it's corrupt. We all know these things, but I had a firsthand account plus emails from like Comey, to her and her boss about everything that was going on. So I had all these things listed out, really wild story. And it just died. And then it got weirder after that because all these politicians who got elected, some local to West Virginia also didn't want to deal with this story. People I've talked to quite a bit. I don't know what that was. I do know a lot of FBI whistleblowers also were never rehired. So I take that, I think about that constantly when I'm talking about the Epstein stuff because I think there's a lot going on, and I don't, the Epstein stuff is clearly a mess. But I also now, with this insight I have to this lady and how they did her so dirty, the place is just a total shit show. I know I try not to curse. I am sorry I cursed, but this story really, really, really upset me, and it was a real shame that I couldn't. I was hoping to amplify her story more, and I did to some degree, but not like it would have been. So maybe there'll be more to that at some point because I'm not done. But all that's to say is the surveillance state is real, and I have lots of theories on everything with that, and more to come. But I pray for her, and I hope she gets her job back, or at least gets her retirement, because she's about to retire and get that money. They took that from her too.
The one thing I think is like, imagine any of that ever being used to actually benefit you.
Which part?
Any part of what they're taking surveillance-wise from you at any given standpoint.
And nothing to do with your safety.
Nothing about it is really, like he said, to do with your safety, or there's nothing there that's ever going to help you or do you justice.
That's how they sell it. It's for national
at the very
security.
least, maybe they used, one of the CCTV footages from like a car accident or something to see that you didn't hit the person, they hit you. I can see that being, hey, that works out in your favor. We've got the footage.
There's definitely ways that it can be in your favor in these localized events, but
it just seems like it's the weight ratio on that scale of balance is fairly tipped. Yeah,
and she was calling out some pretty serious like data issues that that's classified stuff, and maybe that's the part of the problem. But like, I think whistleblowers are really important, and she didn't seem to be one of these whistleblowers that was like getting. Being allowed to do this. A lot of these whistleblowers that we talk about in the UFO world, they're kind of almost like a conduit between the people they're whistleblowing on and the people, whereas she was completely destroyed. And to the point where the lawfare drained all her money and her husband, and she's got a bunch of kids, some that she adopted, and they wouldn't let her get a job. Even if she wanted to get a job at Dollar General, they're like, nope. They would find out and stop it.
Baskin Robbins always finds out.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
So insane to me. So I don't know how I got to there. Oh, probably the surveillance state. And yeah, the camera's watching always while I'm on a camera right now talking to you guys. But Yeah, haunted dolls. So what else? Should we get some callers?
Yeah, if you're ready to.
Yeah, I was just going to pull up the chat real quick and see. The first thing I see is Melvin saying Palantir is your friend. I'm probably going to have to cover Peter Thiel doing his 4-part lecture on the Antichrist.
Ugh.
Tell me about
4 parts.
the revelation of the method. Yeah, he's doing an Antichrist talk, which he talked about on the Ross Douthat interview for the New York Times when he was like asked if he wanted to save humanity, if is it good to save humanity. He was like, blood, sweat. Yeah, Palantir's not our friend. It's here to destroy you, and it's been here for such a long time.
I'm going to shout this one out for our boy Tiny. AW Smoke Shop, formerly Willie's in Frederick, MD, thinks the Alexa is bad for society.
Yeah.
Smoke Shop in Frederick has all your glass needs plus more. Support local businesses. Support Boonies HQ. I'm down with that. Willie does. And 306 North Market Street, Frederick, Maryland. AW, formerly Willie's, has all your smoking needs.
All right.
That's our guy Tiny out
All
there.
right. What else is going on here with you guys? Active chat. Oh man. I see a lot of the name Corn Pop. Every time I see the name Corn Pop, I'm like, Joe Biden.
There's been a decent corn pop talk going on here.
David Parker. Ian is holding Tim hostage for more IRL time.
I guess
man.
you guys can throw corn pop on the drinking list for the night. I suppose we can use that one.
Yeah.
Or the word doll. Those are the play words tonight.
Bobby Broadway says, "You bad word teller, Shane." Indeed. It was very demoralizing.
I'm having a bad influence on Shane Cashman in this room, folks, from all my potty mouth discussions that I'm having here.
I'm sorry.
It is I who is sorry.
Oh man, it makes me so furious what happened with this lady, and she's not the only one. And there's others out there, and just destroyed her life. It's awful. But yeah, it is on my Substack. It is there, and it made the rounds a little bit. But I was really hoping to get this lady some more attention for help, because it seems like, you can apply pressure to some things in this administration and you'll get those changes. Or like Cracker Barrel today, who seems to have renounced the rebrand. And we all now have the original Cracker Barrel logo back. Thank God. Thank God.
My favorite ones have been the ones with it's like there's only one hope for Cracker Barrel now, and it's just a picture of like Sydney Sweeney in like a Cracker Barrel shirt, and she's just looking at the camera. I'm like, oh yeah, dude.
Great jeans.
Let's
Yes.
go.
Unbelievable. Well, let's do it. Let's get to some callers, shall we?
Yep. So I want to bring on Hugh John first because I believe he was hanging out in chat last night and we weren't able to
Sweet.
get to him. So let's start with him tonight.
Let's go. Unbelievable. Well,
Hugh John, you're on the show. What's up?
Hey, fellas, how are you?
We're good,
man. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm terrified of my phone. I do not have an Alexa, and I refuse to get a smart TV.
Yeah. What about a
Is-
smart fridge?
Nope, not going to get one. My wife and I
Nice.
are actually moving in the next 6 weeks, and we made sure that the appliances that are staying are not smart.
Are not
appliances.
intelligent, yeah.
Dumb fridge.
I see. I've got a problem because I actually do enjoy my smart TV, but it's just because of the access to apps and stuff like that. I hate what it still does, but I'm less inclined to be mad at it when it's giving me so much in return. So I don't know like how bad that is that I just consider it like a good trade-off. Like, all right, you can
Well,
steal
at
my
least there's
identity,
a give and
but
a take.
yeah, as long as I don't have to sign in every single damn day, I don't mind my TV.
The last TV
Yeah,
I owned
yeah.
was like a Magnavox, like something like it was like a small coffin. It was just a huge TV.
Did it have the little blue dot when you turned it on? And
You immediately,
opens up?
yes, you just transported me back to 1996.
See, those fridges too are alert, and this is the second time we've talked about fridges tonight, so everyone's phones are going to be blowing up. But there are those fridges that are smart fridges that have like the TVs built into them, and it's cool because you're like, oh hey, I can totally like do my Samsung shit on here or my Apple shit on here, whatever, and it's fun and it's alluring to think about having that in your fridge. Oh, I can walk in and see the weather, the temperature outside, but it's like, do you really need that?
To doom scroll while you're just binge eating?
It's just another smart object.
Convenience is going to be the death of us all.
That's right. It is so true. We're so complacent because how luxurious everything is.
Yep.
It sucks. Well, what's going on tonight, man? How are you? What's on your mind?
Well, so lots of things, but going back to the what was it? The guy, The Exorcist, who you had on a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
He had reminded me of his story of his dad. Reminded me of when I was, I think, 18. So we're going back to 92.
All right.
I had dabbled with Satanism. And by dabbling, I mean I bought a Satanic Bible. I bought Aleister Crowley's spell book, read the things, tried a couple things out. I never went to a black mass or anything like that. And it lasted maybe a month of my life, and I left it. But I jotted down some notes so I make sure I kind of stay on track for once. So when I first picked up this book, the Satanic Bible, I don't remember anything about it other than it engrossed me. And I was, throughout all of high school, a very slow reader, very bad ability to pay attention while reading. I couldn't put it down. I read the whole thing in an afternoon. And then looking through the spell book, a buddy of mine who was mildly interested, he and I decided we were going to try to do a seance. Initially, we decided we were going to, set up some phony things and make stuff move and scare our friends who we were going to bring out. I was going to conjure up a watcher.
Can you describe what a watcher is?
My understanding is it's a fallen angel.
Okay.
That you conjure up, and it's sort of like your guard as a Satanist. So it watches out for you. But it's almost, have you ever read Screw Tape Letters?
Of course. Yep.
Okay. It would be Screw Tape, or no, not because Screw Tape was the lead demon.
Wormwood.
It would be Wormwood. It would be more like that, but he's there.
Right.
For lack of a better way of putting it. That's my understanding. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
But anyway, my house at the time, it was an old farmhouse with a detached garage. So we were going to do this out in the detached garage, which had a finished, sort of a finished attic. When the fellow who built the place built it, that was the original house, and then he built the house. So he and his family lived up in the attic. So it was a semi-finished attic. We had a bunch of stuff up there, pushed off to the side, so you have a nice path going through. It had a wood-burning stove. I had a heavy bag hanging off the ceiling. Plenty of room. It was probably 1,200 square feet of a garage. Pretty nice. Anyway, we set up some traps to just make stuff move and scare our friends, but we decided, fuck it, we're not going to do that. We'll see if this really works. We wanted to test it out. So I did the preempting things. We went out, or in the garage, I did the preempting things. So I did some kind of, basically just a little poem kind of thing, right out of the spell book. And then I had to put a dagger in the northwest corner. Then my friends and I went out, got some dinner. We came back. This is in August in northeast Illinois. Not usually very cold, but the garage was freezing when we got back.
Sometimes it's actually blaring hot in August, at least like the last few years.
I'm in southeast Wisconsin right now, and I'm loving the weather at the moment because we have barely broken 70, but 2 weeks ago it was 95 degrees.
Oof.
And ridiculous humidity. So, now I'm moving to Alabama.
Oh, yeah. You're in for some serious swamp ass down there, man.
Yeah. Well, kind of by Huntsville area. So not too bad, but yeah, pretty damn hot. Anyway, back to the tale. So we get in there. My buddy and I had decided we weren't going to do any of these tripwire things. None of them went off, but we heard a lot of noise while we were doing this seance. above us in the attic. And there appeared to be a handprint with ridiculously long finger, like 12-inch long fingers, for lack of a better term, that had burned itself into the ceiling. And that was there right up until we moved. It wasn't there before we did the seance. It was there after we did it. The noise was all of our boxes and things that we had up in the attic had been pushed into the center so you couldn't walk through. None of my friends thought anything of it, but my buddy and I, who had set everything up, were a little freaked out because that was nothing we were planning on doing. And the fact that it was frigid for the time, again, August in Northeast Illinois, pretty damn hot usually. It was probably 60 degrees in the garage, no air conditioning at all. So that was weird. Fast forward about a month and a half, when I had met some Irish woman who kind of talked me out of all of it and told me to start going back to church. And her exact words were, if you've given your life to Jesus Christ, even as a child, he took it seriously, even if you don't.
Amen.
And that was very profound to me. So I was like, okay. And that night, I decided I was going to just get rid of the books, the spell book and the Satanic Bible. I was able to burn the spell book, no problem. The Satanic Bible would only burn so long as I held my lighter to it. And finally, I gave up on it, and we had this burn barrel that was empty. I threw both the binding of the spell book in there and broke the Satanic Bible in half and threw it in there. And I shit you not, flames shot up high enough I had to pull it away from the garage. And it lasted about 2 minutes. And then it just burned out.
Whoa.
And all that was in there was the books.
In the fire?
Yeah, that's all that was in that burn barrel. There might have been a couple of loose leaves, but it was empty.
Right. So you're saying that those books produced that giant flame.
That's all I can come away with it.
I wonder what they were made out of.
Yeah, right.
Standard paper, my man. I got them out of Barnes and Nobles in Vernon Hills.
Just makes me wonder if just because it's like supposedly like the book of the devil, if they just like made it out of even more highly flammable materials, just because it's like, hey, if this book ever goes to hell,
That's an interesting point. I always kind of took it as that was sort of the thing that I had conjured up, telling me I could take you, but I'm not allowed to.
Like a last warning.
So and I just want to segue back here a little bit. You mentioned that burn mark on the ceiling. Is that? Are we thinking that's like, did this thing get burned out, or was that like, did it leave a mark on its way?
It seems to me, the way I always interpreted it is that it had left a mark as it came in. Because all we had was a candle, because that's all you're supposed to have is a candle. So we couldn't really tell what was going on outside the circle very well. But it was not there beforehand, and it was definitely there afterwards. Everybody there saw it. There was about 10 of us in there.
Whoa.
And most of them assumed that I had put it there, but my buddy Paul and I, we were like, no, that's...
You guys didn't have candles lit or anything crazy?
Not close enough to the ceiling. It was a standard 8-foot ceiling. The candles that we had were just on the table in front of us because that's all you were supposed to have.
Yeah, and I'm only asking because I've had cheap-ass candles before that like will literally kick off so much black smoke that it stains your ceiling.
Oh, yeah, the soot that comes off of them is ridiculous. No, it wouldn't have been close enough. And it was also, like, the candle was in the center, and this would have been maybe roughly 8 feet away and 4 feet above.
And it stayed, and you said it stayed there. It stayed there the whole time afterwards.
Oh yeah, until I moved, it was there. And currently now there is a church on that property.
You don't say.
I don't say.
Whoa.
It's if you're familiar with the Libertyville Grays Lake area, it's 137 and 45.
Okay.
So if you know the Doe's Motel, they were my neighbors.
Interesting.
They hated my dog. My dog thought it was hilarious to go chase those people.
What did you try other things? You said you tried out a few things. What else did you do with the books?
Well, I tried now that you mention it, tried what would you call it? Kind of sex magic.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would call it.
Very
Basically a
Crowley.
spell to make a girl want me.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't seen her prior to getting rid of the books. After I got rid of the books, she and I bumped into each other, and she would not leave me alone.
Oh,
And you got to watch that shit, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Oof. How'd that turn out?
Well, I'm married to somebody different.
Okay.
All right.
So, and she and I have been married since 96.
Awesome. Congrats. That's incredible.
Thank you. We had 4 kids before I was 27.
Wow. Amazing.
And then she said, I'm done.
With you or the kids?
The kids.
Assuming it was the kids because they're still married, but who knows?
Yeah. It was, the 4th one was an attempt at evening out the teams.
Yeah.
Didn't go my way. So I wanted 2 boys, 2 girls. I got 1 boy, 3 girls.
Yep. I'm outnumbered.
Time to
by
stop
girls.
rolling the dice at that point, right? Yeah.
That's what she said. So I was like, all right, but we can still, She said, of course. So, here I am now in my early 50s, and we're still together, and it's all good.
I love that. That's great. That is the
Thank
best. Well, that's a wild story. I've never actually looked at those books. I've heard a lot about them. I know a bit about Crowley. It's one of those rabbit holes I just have yet to do. At some point, I'd like to have someone on who knows a lot about Alistair, because he comes up a lot.
Oh, God. You know the Snake Brothers?
No.
Okay. They have a podcast. I know Ian knows who they are because he's talked. I think he might have even been on their podcast. They have a guy who does know a lot about it.
Okay.
And his name is George. That's all I remember.
All right. I'll look it up. Sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, there's 2 Georges that they have. One's really deep on the UFO stuff, and one is really deep on the history of the occult.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're due for one of those episodes with Crowley or Crowley. I never know. Everyone says it differently.
You're right. I have no idea. I'm a typical Midwestern American, so to me it's Crowley, but
Yeah.
it's probably
I made the
something
mistake of saying Crowley once on IRL with Michael Malice, who immediately different. Me. It's Crowley.
Oh, as he will.
Yeah.
Yeah, Malice will definitely get on you for that one.
He'll jump all over your business immediately. I've never seen him not do it.
But on it,
And he'll spend 5 minutes standing on it too.
Yeah. I'll be honest.
Tap
Like,
dancing.
I don't really care because Crowley sounds better to me, and it's like when someone tells me GIF is supposed to be GIF, I just don't take it very seriously.
My name's
Agreed.
Jeff.
It's GIF.
It just doesn't make sense because now, 1,000 years in the future, when they're looking back at our timeline, they can say, "Hey, we're looking at hieroglyphics." Hieroglyphics doesn't work.
Exactly.
There was actually a
sounds
guy who
stupid.
said, I can't remember the video for the life of me, but there was somebody who actually invited this dude that came up with the term GIF onto a segment where he sat and roasted him about why he was never going to pronounce it that way and why it was GIF instead. And I can't remember any of it, but it was absolutely hilarious.
That's
He's just like,
great.
oh, if I go get groceries, do I
Didn't
say
have
like,
that guy on one time?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I got to find
feel
that
like
video
he
though because
did.
it was hilarious.
Oh, that's yes.
He made a
absolutely.
lot of good points that I was just like, it's hilarious and it makes sense. Like he's right.
That's hilarious.
So yes, GIF.
Isn't the G supposed to be for graphic?
I mean, you're making
Graphic
too
info
much
file
sense.
or something like that?
That makes too much sense.
Let me verify here.
I could be completely off base on that, but that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, GIF just doesn't sound natural.
That's peanut butter.
Exactly.
From when I
That's
was a kid.
Exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Choosy moms choose GIF.
Yeah, and then when you get older, you just don't like it
Yeah,
anymore.
graphics interchange format.
Okay,
Right.
so graphics.
Yeah.
That's not J.
So what does he do? What kind of psyop is he pulling on us? It's also like Genghis Khan.
Yeah, no one's gonna call him Genghis Khan.
They're trying.
Right.
They're trying to make that a thing.
Or Chungus.
Chungus, dude.
What is he? A Chungus Among Us?
Chungus Unchained.
Right,
Yeah,
it's
he's
like-
not directed by Quentin Tarantino. I'm sorry.
No,
It's like
he's
every
definitely
time we
Let's
start
relax.
bombing a new country in the Middle East, we suddenly have to pronounce it differently. Like
Right.
Iran is now Iran. You know, is that like?
Yep.
See,
just
but Craig
shut up.
Blackman in chat says giraffe. It's not going to be giraffe.
But that's a soft G.
So right, but it's
Yeah, J.
so
But that's draft,
there's-
not graphic.
yeah.
I know,
Gary, not Jerry. Oh, there's a Jerry.
you know
Yeah,
we could argue semantics
but
all night on
Gary-
this, but
Gary is not Jerry.
right. There's two
They're
different
two
things.
different names.
Two
Right.
different things.
So
Yeah. Well,
he loses.
yeah,
you-
exactly.
tomato,
Exactly.
you know, bibbity bobbity,
Well, that's it. It's all putting a different accent on the different syllable.
fucking
We're
gabagoo. Yeah,
we're calling it Crowley on this show. But hey, thanks
right.
for calling in, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no, you guys go on. Have a great night. Thanks for taking my call.
thanks
you.
you.
You too.
See ya.
Take care. Bye bye.
You know what that reminded me of, really quick? I just wanted to make this connection. I meant to do it yesterday.
Can't wait till I see Malice next time. But yeah, go ahead.
You say just.
I'm
keep
just gonna be
saying
like Mr.
Crowley.
Chowley. Like
Okay, let me make sure I get the name right this time before I have you pull it up. First pull up Dustin Hoffman and Hook.
one of the all-time great performances of Dustin Hoffman.
This movie's amazing. I mean, I haven't seen it. I just saw it recently with the kids for the first time since 1991.
What specifically am I pulling up
Just
about this?
him, a close up of his face.
We could
Perhaps
just
like one of
do,
those.
Hang on, let me see if I can.
Come up on the screen.
I want to do the. So this is the cover for the movie Hook, which
Perfect.
he's kind of
Perfect.
right behind
That's all I
Robin
need.
Williams there to the
That's
left.
all I need. So
Shmee is me.
who is Hook in this movie? He is a man who is rather scary, who kidnaps kids, right? Which
Uh-huh.
is abuse, which is not good. You know, it's obviously in a lighthearted manner in the movie, but I mean, it is kind of scary. There's a hook dragging along the
Kidnapping
wall.
children in a lighthearted manner.
It's so weird
He
that
did
it's,
it nicely.
he did it nicely. I mean, it is so weird, but it's really dark.
And Robin Williams' children eventually in the movie attested to him having maternal issues, issues with his mother, and that's why he steals children. Is because mommy didn't love Captain Hook enough.
Exactly. Hook, great movie, but it is really bizarre. Aaron Wolf says every character looks gay in this poster. Hook is pretty gay. As I was watching it this second time,
I was gonna say not Julia Roberts, but she actually does have the kind of like short haircut to this.
That
so it's
fairy
like,
drives a Subaru. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
she's wearing Birkenstocks.
Bill Lumberg says
pictured.
Peter Pan kidnapped kids first. Okay, point taken. I'm just looking at the chat real quick to see if anyone knows where I'm about to go with this. Because the first thing I noticed that I obviously didn't know when I was 7 is go Google for me Michael Aquino.
Michael Aquino.
MICHAEL AQUINO. Go to his Wikipedia page. We've looked at him before. You guys know where I'm going with this, right? This is insane to me.
Oh shit!
You guys see this, right? I can't find anything online that has any that they've found any inspiration to this, but you don't see this look very often. Correct me if I'm wrong. I grew up in New York. You grew up in Illinois. Maybe it's just a thing we just haven't come across. Have you guys seen those eyebrows anywhere else in the world? But we got him on Michael Aquino, or however you say his name, and on Hook. Now, what did Michael Aquino? What is his deal? You guys remember? Why am I even thinking of this? Because Michael Aquino was a Satanist who was in the military, who also was a founder and high priest of the Temple of Set. And he was accused of child molestation. In November 1986, the San Francisco police began investigating allegations of sexual abuse in connection with the Army's Child Development Center at the Presidio of San Francisco. A girl came forward in August 1987 and identified Aquino as the culprit. At least 58 out of 100 children who had attended the daycare center showed physical and mental signs of sexual abuse. This is insane. leading to a lawsuit by the parents for $60 million in damages. An investigation against Aquino was launched, but it was closed after insufficient evidence was found. And there's interviews with him online talking about it. John DeCamp, a Republican politician and former member of the Nebraska legislature, linked Aquino to the Franklin child prostitution ring allegations. However, no charges were filed and a grand jury dismissed. And now the Franklin child thing, I'm not going to get into that today, but that is messed up. But I'll say this is like a few years before Hook came out. And the first thing I noticed when I saw Hook, I'm like, wow, those eyebrows look just like Aquino. Terrifying. And they kind of have like this weird similar thing going on. I would love to know if someone in makeup or in the design how did you come up with those eyebrows? Were they inspired by this demon of a man?
So I'm doing kind of my own little deep dive through his wiki over here while you're going through that. And I want to bring your attention to this, Shane. Mind War. In 1980.
Yeah, dude.
This is crazy, this tie-in. In response to the Vietnam War, Aquino published a paper co-authored with Colonel Paul Vallely called From PSYOP to Mind War, The Psychology of Victory. In this paper, both authors propose a new type of psychological warfare to replace or supplement conventional warfare. The term mind war suggests a broader, more persuasive form of psychological warfare that extends beyond traditional PSYOP. It may involve the use of media, information technology, and other forms of communication to influence both enemy forces and civilian populations. Measures such as altering electromagnetic waves or ionizing the air are also proposed to influence or manipulate civilians.
I forgot about that part.
Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. This dude is wild.
Bomb drop.
He's dead, right? He can go up.
This guy's dead, right? Like, please tell me. Hang on. Was it? That's 1999 with his wife.
Yeah, he's dead. 2019.
Yeah, September 1st, 2019.
Oh my goodness. His wife's name was Lilith. I wonder if that was her real name. Of course, right?
This is her right here, and she looks like Morticia Adams.
Yep. So I thought that was very bizarre.
And there's a whole series on his child molestation allegations down here at the bottom.
Oh, he killed himself. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, after a long illness, Aquino died at 6:08 p.m. on September 1st, 2019, at 72 years of age after a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Supposedly, so did Hitler.
Yeah, allegedly. Sounds like the Clintons did it. But yeah, that Franklin thing that's for another episode. It is.
We might have
insane.
to do a dive on this guy one of these nights.
Yeah, I might have someone in mind to talk about this guy because it is really
Bizarre.
bananas, all the stuff he talked about. And I think, that Mind War stuff obviously is happening. I don't think it was unique to even that day. But yeah, those eyebrows, man, the second I saw Hook, I'm like, holy crap, it's Michael Aquino. I mean, who else has those? And who else messes with kids?
I've never seen them before.
And then and then this Hook is running a psyop on the kids because his evil plan is to make the kids want Hook to be their dad. So he's doing all these he's doing this psyop. It doesn't work on the daughter, but it works on the son with the baseball game, and just basically doing this repeating in his head why his dad is bad.
Apparently, they didn't have adoption services in Neverland.
No.
Got to steal kids the old-fashioned way.
Yep. Oh, man. It's a good movie. The other surprising thing about that movie is they said grace when they sat down to eat their imaginary dinner. I was like, oh, wow. 1991. Incredible. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, that is a good movie, despite how gay that poster looks. Let's get to another caller.
Let's do it. Let's bring in Jeffrey Beans.
Hello?
Hello.
Jeff,
Hey,
you're on
boys.
the show. What's up, buddy?
That's a weird transition there.
Yeah, it
Dude,
is.
okay, I had so much other stuff to talk about, but this Hook stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so fun little tidbit is that Dustin Hoffman and the guy who plays Smee, the guy from Roger Rabbit, privately, and never really told anybody till years later, decided to play those characters as a gay couple.
What?
Is that what I did get kind of gay hints.
It is. When you watch it, it is really
He's
gay.
rubbing his feet and stuff. Like,
Yep, he's trying. Like,
And it's also another reason why Hook would have wanted his own child without adoption anyway, because otherwise, why not just reproduce one, right? You want
Right.
your own genes in your heir, which
Yeah.
he wanted someone to replace him as captain.
yeah, he had to
that
purchase him.
whole movie is like a metaphor for like the pedo elite.
Yes,
Like, you got your gay Hook, right? It's an island of perpetual children who run away from their parents to hang out with pirates.
They even made Robin Williams look kind of gay, actually, when he was as Pan. He had like blush and eyeliner and stuff on. His hair was like primped.
there's also the whole gender bending aspect of Peter Pan, right? Because it was always
Rufio also looks
girl
like a
playing
lesbian,
him.
right?
Rufio,
Yeah, they let
looks like a
Ellen,
lesbian.
didn't Ellen DeGeneres play Peter Pan at some point or some, or no,
probably.
it was, I can't remember her name, but they had a woman.
But
play
yeah,
him
that was
couple
like
of
a
times.
thing they
Yep.
did. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it is. When I was reading the old school Peter Pan to one of my kids years ago, I was like, man, this is very Epstein Islandy. I'm not reading this anymore.
And Enlightenful says, well, Hook
The
did
clock
want
is
Lost
always
Boys.
ticking,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
For-
yes.
For Hook,
Yep.
he hates the clock so much. He hates it.
It's aging, you know?
He's a transhumanist. Hook is a transhumanist. Like, he doesn't want to grow old.
He's like the most primitive version of a transhumanist,
Yep.
technically, I guess. Right?
He's got a fake limb. Hates time, the passing of time. Wants your children. I mean,
He puts other stuff on the stub, like he has like a for his bubbly. He needs his bubbly.
That's right.
Yeah.
No. Guy, well, go rewatch it. I mean, if you want, and see how gay Hook is, and like he's got all his different shoes that are all the same with like the big bows,
Also, what the hell was Rufio wearing?
the wig. Rufio, yeah, he looked like he was from that movie. What is that movie?
Rufio's like the most try-hard scene kid.
He looked like he
Like-
was transitioning, for crying out loud. I mean,
What's the one with that?
Okay, and then
Come
so
out.
you said he looks like the pedo guy. I never knew about that guy, but you're right. He does have the eyebrows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if the whole thing's a metaphor, that's clearly that guy. He's trying to take the kid away from his dad.
mm-hmm.
And then he did the mind game thing,
Yeah.
right? Which is like a psyop to the next level.
Yep.
Next
So-
level for sure.
Do you ever see that movie, The Game, with Michael Douglas?
Yeah, that movie's actually
I haven't.
amazing.
So I think that's another one of those movies. It's like one of those eyes wide shut expose
Mhm.
type of things,
Yep.
right? Because he gets in the game and it's a psyop, like to the point where he doesn't even know what's a psyop.
Yep.
And what does he do at the end of the movie?
Tries to kill himself.
They push him to the
Right.
point that he unalives himself off a building,
And they
just
predicted
like the guy
it.
who invented the psyop that makes you kill yourself.
Which, yeah,
like-
spoiler alert, obviously. But if you haven't seen the game yet, you're about 30 years late. So, you know, get with the
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
A movie,
There are a lot
a
of
movie that's square when you watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so many dark themes in this stuff.
Back before the aspect ratio was actually necessary to know.
And then that also ties into like the Alexa thing. You might have said it because I was using an angle grinder at one point and I might have missed it. But the Alexa thing, like you said, it lights up every now and then when it thinks it hears something, but then it turns off.
Yeah.
But like the fact that it lights up when it hears its name means the microphone has to always be on and processing.
Right.
Yep.
It has to just by default, just to hear its name.
Exactly.
Like-
So the indicator light isn't shit. That mic still stays active afterwards, listening for the appropriate keywords.
Yep. It's never
Right.
off.
And I read a thing the other day where like the smart device that actually steals the most information from you is if you have like a newer car that has, Wi-Fi capabilities and stuff like that.
That's listening for
it's
you to
taking your
engage your AI and
biometrics.
your Bluetooth and stuff too.
Yep.
What's that?
I said, yeah, there a lot of them have the same listening devices in them because they're waiting
Oh, no.
for you to talk to your Bluetooth and stuff like that as well.
No, but it's like scanning your heartbeat and biometrics and temperature. It's listening to all the racial slurs you say, getting a profile of you,
Yep.
all the terrible things. Like it's just, it's actually your car. And remember I said like, I'm of the opinion that if there's some new technology that's awesome that we know about, it's probably like 30 to 50 years behind what the government actually has, if they're letting us know about it.
Oh yeah.
So like, recently Google has like the quantum computer thing that you were talking about earlier,
Yep.
the quantum chip that can hack anything. So if Google has it, they have to have something way better in Antarctica that can process all of this information that's a constant stream from the myriad of devices that everybody has.
All these places are just branches of the government.
Well, no, but I honestly I agree with that. The idea of that base being similarly located there because of the temperatures.
Right.
To keep
The
these
cooling, right?
massive server rooms cooled is a shit ton of money and energy. So you want to go someplace that's inherently cold, probably. And they have
it makes
the
it
money
very
for
cheap
this shit.
to keep it cool.
Yeah, and they have the money for this shit, but you know, if they're thinking long term and they've got one of these massive ass storage databases, which I'm sure they do, that would be my bank for where it's going to get put. No one's allowed up there.
Right. And if you got a bank of quantum chips and a nuclear reactor to power them all and Antarctica to cool them all, and you probably got like ChatGPT 17, you know, if we have 5 to process all that, it would make it very easy to gaslight large groups of people.
Yeah.
And
100%.
manipulate things in a very subtle way.
Yeah, that's the evolution of MK Ultra. They were able to build this network of mind control outside of just giving people acid and melting their brains. Now they do it remotely all the time. We do it to ourselves.
Do you think they can like create? I mean, if you have that level of stuff, would you be able to create like Manchurian candidates?
Yeah.
Without ever making contact?
I think so. I mean, like for me, I think of someone as recent as about a summer ago when that horrible mass shooting happened in Maine, and he was hearing voices. I mean, he was a military guy. He was seeking help. Everyone knew he was one of those guys. He was on our radar. He was hearing voices. I think that they can certainly implant voices into your brain. They for sure are doing stuff like that. So I don't know if he's
saying
one,
he's
but
on the radar is like a fuck you to us because that's like a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He was on the radar, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course. I think most of these people are. It's like they
That's
let
what
it
we
happen.
call it. We call it the radar.
Yeah,
No,
the
go ahead,
radar.
sorry.
Yeah, of course, the radar is how they like he's on their radar because they're transmitting things to him, you know. But also like he is a candidate, a Manchurian candidate. They've been talking about this stuff forever. That's their dream, is to create these super soldiers that they can remote control. We're decades into that, and they've never stopped. MK Ultra never stopped. It's just evolved, and now that we've got these screens and the stuff in our food, and who knows what coming out of the sky, it's like anyone's primed, you know. That Luigi Mangione story is super weird to me. He disappeared for a little bit. You know, no one really knows where he was for a certain amount of time. There was someone else. Oh, Vance Bolter, I believe, also had a little bit of time that was weird. Well, his whole life was weird.
Yeah, Bolter's a
right?
weird story.
Like
the Pennsylvania kid.
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh well, yeah. Thomas Matthew Crooks.
Yeah, I couldn't think of it. Thank
you. Dude, that one is super. I literally think they made him in a lab, like the Krasenstein brothers, but like as a dangerous one. Like that kid.
His parents are highly suspicious as well.
Yeah, and you can look up articles as recent as like a month or two ago, where the brother of Thomas Matthew Crooks' uncle, hasn't heard from his brother since it happened.
Okay.
That's weird. Like they just dropped off the face of the planet. You know, his own family's not seeing him.
That is weird.
You could say they're just obviously distraught and they just can't face society. But then you think about how fast they cremated the body before a proper investigation was done. Mm-hmm. The whole thing with the silverware in the house, there was no silverware. That's weird.
The FBI did the cleanup. FBI doesn't do cleanups.
Yeah, they washed the blood off real quick to the roof.
The no silverware thing is usually indicative of a person not actually habitating the area that they're in.
Right. It's a spook house. It's fake. Same thing happened, and this is just in my, from the paranoid part of my brain, that terrorist attack that happened on January 1st in New Orleans when the guy drove through the crowd. And then somehow...
No, that was an SUV that drove through the crowd.
Right. Dangerous SUV drove through the crowd. Remember they let this journalist into his house while it was still a crime scene? And so we got these reports. That was weird. And what did she find? Of course, it was open to the Quran, to a page about martyrdom, and she was able to see all the chemicals to make other bombs he might have been making. Super
That's
weird.
Like the 9/11 guy's passports all floating down after
Yes.
But the jet fuel is still being hot enough to melt all the beams in the tower, just not the passports.
Thank God.
It atomized the entire Mercedes-Benz titanium engine. But passports are fine, guys. Thank God.
Yep, it was a miracle. I just think, I do think things do happen organically. There are obviously monsters in this world that just do evil. But I really think there are a lot of people out there that have been created somehow by some dark agency to carry out violence for who knows what, for an experiment, for some narrative. It just, these things don't add up. Like the guy who blew himself up in the Cybertruck on the same day, January 1st of this year, feels like 1,000 years ago.
One.
That was weird, right? Remember how Sean Ryan kind of broke that story about how he had an email from him and it was about like these anti-gravity machines that seemed really bogus to me already. And the whole thing just seemed like a weird, I don't know, false flag or something, or just a crazy person.
I always take anything Sean Ryan says with, a large cube of salt, because he's, I used to be in the CIA is not a thing.
Right.
Like,
you're always a Fed.
Yeah. Once a spook, always a spook.
One last thing. What do we think of the Tucker Carlson situation?
Which part?
That he's probably a spook.
Yeah, that, very weird. I really enjoy Tucker interviews, especially now.
Me too.
He's doing great interviews. I really enjoyed the Anna Kasparian interview, the Candace one. There's so many that I really like. The Martyr Maid one. But I noticed it in the Candace interview before Nick Fuentes came out and said it. I was like, he pretended like he just found out about his dad being CIA. That is, anyone who's watched Tucker knows we've all known that for some time. That was bizarre.
Didn't he also claim like a year ago that he was attacked by a demon and it left marks on him?
Yeah, that part I believe. No problem. He did say that. But
I'm less inclined to believe that part, if anything. That's just me.
He said.
You ever heard of somebody named Zach Bagans, sir? It happens to him all the time.
No, I haven't heard of him.
Oh, that's the Ghost Adventures guy.
Okay.
I call him Scooby Douchebag.
That's a good name.
He goes and talks shit to ghosts. He's like, "Oh, you want to push a girl? Why don't you push me?"
Put some on your own
just yells at ghosts for a few hours. And
that's hilarious. The thing with Tucker, that part about the CIA stuff really was weird to me. And the other thing is, though, like, everyone's possibly a Fed, and especially in the media world, like when people accuse me of being it, I'm like, good, you're doing your job right. You should be suspicious of literally everybody. It's unfortunate, but look at the world we've had to inhabit the last 5 years. We know about Operation Mockingbird. They always try to hijack any type of counterculture. The podcast world was certainly the counterculture. It was the biggest voices for the loudest dissenters during COVID. They tried to censor everyone so hard. So, of course, the demons in the government were like, we got to now do that. And I guarantee you, I've probably talked to Feds who are podcasters or guests on podcasts. It's inevitable. And they're at every level.
No, I'm
wait, he said Brandon's one. Interesting.
Yeah,
I'm taking my glasses
he's
off.
He's not a Fed, but he might not be. I wasn't supposed to say.
Let's take a look. We'll see. He can skate though.
Got the
he
tattoo.
Can skate. Yeah, I know.
He's got the Nexium tattoo.
Get the fuck out of here.
He's got the Nexium tattoo.
All right, it's worth noting that 2 of the tattoos on me, the kid on the phone right now did when we were 16 drunk in our friend's living room. So,
I was like, we were like 22.
No, we were like 17.
No, I got my art degree by then, like an asshole.
Okay, maybe we were around that age.
We all make mistakes.
At any point, he did it. So
No, I've had so many people on this show, and there's always someone like that person's a Fed. That person's a Fed. I also feel that way about a lot of people, not just in the media world, just in general. Sometimes it's like you meet someone in the world, and it's just they're weird, And then when you do a lot of like stories that are involving kind of high profile people, you end up meeting handlers, and that's weird. Like the Kanye story put me around a lot of strange people afterwards. Or just doing anything political, because they're in everything. So it's certainly a possibility. It would suck, 'cause I do like Tucker's interviews. I think he's one of the few people actually doing interesting like one-on-one long format interviews that I appreciate. But I mean, people like me are
But
also
isn't that what
schizophrenic.
controlled opposition is supposed to do?
Yep.
Like make you feel better?
Exactly. And it's like making you complacent and almost like a distraction, or feeding you a narrative that they want you to have. And that's
Right.
That's
you think
dangerous.
you're making them mad.
Exactly.
You know?
There's so much like false anger in the media on both sides that is so troubling. And like, I had this whole discussion last night about free speech, and I see on Twitter there's a lot of like bigger accounts who are anti what I think is free expression. I interpret the First Amendment to have expression in it. So does Antonin Scalia as well, and he did defend flag burning, and that's a whole other can of worms. I don't think you should throw a burning flag on people or try to burn anyone down, but I do think certain responsible protesting is okay, not like George Floyd riots. But they're
personal property issue, if anything.
Yeah. If it's your own flag, like don't steal a flag and burn it. But like what I'm sensing now is that we're trying to like pacify dissent amongst the right and like trick the right into thinking that true dissent is inherent only to the left. So now it's like everyone who's a protester or dissenter is a Marxist, which is, these days, lately, sure. But during COVID, the conservative leaning types and libertarian types were the most like profound dissenting voices, not the people in the streets doing the George Floyd stuff, but the people online. I wish there was, honestly, I wish there was more of a pushback in the physical world, but it did happen online, and there was a lot of pushback and a lot of censorship, pushing back on lockdowns, on mandates and all that stuff. That was coming from the right, and they were huge defenders of free speech, like we should be. And now it's like, I see a lot of people just defaulting to no, maybe dissent is Marxist or it's bad. I think that's really dangerous because it's like something could happen in the future. It doesn't matter who's in power. And now we have to protest. I mean, that is our right. I'm not one to go burning flags. I actually I would never burn a flag. I'm not one to do that. I think you should be able to, as long as you're doing it peacefully. But yeah, it's a weird thing.
Right, but if somebody beats your ass, the punishment for that guy should be like no TV for 2 days.
No TV for 2 days.
And a $30 fine.
Right. I mean, getting put in jail for a year for burning a flag is crazy.
They just put Jay Cutler in jail. At least I've seen this. I don't know if this was recent, if this was a replay, but Jay Cutler apparently is serving 3 to 4 days in jail for a DUI.
I was hoping he beat up John Mulaney.
Yeah, no. I got to look it up and get the rest of the story because there was something else attached to that, but it was just apparently 3 or 4 days he was required to serve for a DUI from last year. Wow. 4 days.
Wow. And meanwhile, if you do this, you get a year in jail. Meanwhile, Ghislaine Maxwell might be pardoned, and they're going to cheer for that because she gave some bogus interview. I'm just so over it. And I think we need to remember that dissent is the most patriotic thing we can do. Like we cheered on the Boston Tea Party.
To remain pure-blooded.
Literally, dude. I went
to Costco.
Look, I upended my entire life, as did my wife. They destroyed so many lives.
$350 fine on top of it.
Holy
I just looked it up.
Moly.
4 days in jail, $350 fine. Tennessee.
Louise.
But I digress.
Yep. But yeah, I think people need to be very aware of it. I got a lot of people who are on my side, but also a lot of pushback, and that's fine. I love that. This discussion is super important. It's the First Amendment, after all. Mm-hmm. But we were the ones we needed that. Like during COVID, the biggest national star we've gone through. And that's why they wanted to
keep us inside, man.
Yes.
Because when the American Revolution, where did that happen? In a bar.
Right. Exactly. Because people were able to meet up and talk it out away from their overlords and got away it done.
Women.
Yeah. Got to repeal the 19th. No, but it's really interesting to me to see it. Like I think we're watching a shift happen when it comes to that. I think dissent is very important. I'm a huge free speech guy, also two-way guy. I love those things. I don't want to trick people into being like, you can't do that, or to tricking ourselves into saying it's okay for the government to define what dissent is. That's disgusting to me. Totally antithetical to what it means to be American, in my opinion. But I don't don't go stealing stuff, don't go hurting people, but they're words. Words aren't violence. That's a leftist argument.
Right.
But
I'm gonna let you boys go. I've been on way too long.
Well, that was fun, man.
As usual, you guys are the stuff.
Thanks.
The right stuff
Sick.
in the middle of the Oreo. All right.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Jeffy.
Later.
See you, buddy.
All right. See you, man.
Later.
Bye-bye.
So Brandon is a Fed, according to Jeff.
Yeah, apparently I'm a fucking spook.
Oh, goodness gracious. But Jeff might be too.
Well,
Jeff
here's
might
the
be
thing.
too.
Here's the thing. If we're getting right down to it, we're talking about listening devices today. Basically, they've turned everybody into their own little informant.
Yes, exactly.
So really, keeping your mouth shut now isn't about not talking to other people. It's also about not talking out loud to yourself.
Yep.
At least if you've got these apps on your phone, these social media apps, these listening devices, even your UI,
Yep.
these things all report back to servers. So, melt your fucking SIM card. I don't know what to tell you.
Melvin, shout out to Melvin. He's got the crown #1. He says dissent is very American, but burning a flag is a childish tantrum. Typically, I would say so, but I defend the ability to do it because I also defend those vets who hate war as much as I do, and who were sacrificed to undeclared needless wars, who come home and their government doesn't even take care of them, and they become homeless, and they're pissed off, and they're not Marxists, and they're patriots, they're veterans. They were willing to die for this country. They lost limbs for this country.
Yeah, stand with our military until they come home.
Right. I mean, it's insane to me that how many bodies have been piled up from all decades of undeclared wars.
It's all about who's serving and who's stepping up to serve, not about the people who already have.
Right. So I understand there's a lot
that.
of childish kids out there who just burn the flag and they think it's edgy and it sucks, and I don't agree with them at all. And if they do it to hurt people, that's another problem. But there are for sure military out there who are very upset with our country, and it's a way for them to protest. And it's not something I would do, but like last night I mentioned Smedley Butler. That guy was a decorated war hero, Purple Heart. I think he got 3 Purple Hearts. He fought alongside Teddy Roosevelt, and then he was asked to do a coup on FDR by all these giant corporations with JP Morgan and DuPont behind him. And then he was like a whistleblower, speaking of whistleblowers today, and called that the business plot out. No one is held accountable. And then he was so dismayed of his entire career and everything he'd done, everything he'd fought for, seeing in his mind, and I agree with him, that so many of our American wars are just for corporate interests, foreign interests, clearly. And he wrote the book War is a Racket, and that's someone who has some deep, I think, legitimate issues with the country. So, I personally am not one to go out and burn a flag, but I think if you want to do it, go do it. I don't agree with half the people doing it these days because they're pathetic.
What about the candidate? I can't remember. I got to look her up. I can't remember her name, but there's a video of her burning the Quran. And she's also, I believe this is the same chick. She's also had she's had videos put out of her jogging. And basically talking shit about LGBTQ.
Valentina?
Like, don't be gay, be a hard ass or something like
She's
that.
got dark hair.
And,
Latina chick?
Yeah.
I did
Valentina
IRL.
Gomez,
I did IRL with her, and Tim had to pull this show down.
Dude, so...
Because she threatened to kill somebody.
Her stunts allegedly include December 2024, she had a video where she staged a mock execution of an immigrant by shooting a dummy tied to a chair with a black bag over its head. I actually have this picture
That video
here.
is actually pretty cool. She's a character. I don't know if she's real, dude. I did a show with her, and I really don't know if she's real.
This is the video right here. Why don't I have it? Okay, let me see if I can get some sound here really quick. What the hell? That is not at all what I thought was going to play.
You can be anything you want. Don't be weak gay.
Okay. This is the lady that I'm seeing in the videos that basically took an Elon flamethrower to the Quran in her backyard and talked shit like the entire time it was burning in the background.
That sounds about right. That sounds she's definitely a provocateur.
I was gonna say what you want about this lady. Some of these methods are kind of extreme, but it seems like she's kind of countering what the extremists already do.
Yeah.
with just by basically just looking back and saying, hey, you know what, fuck you, we can do it too. Yeah. The fact that we don't, you know, as she's suggesting, it makes us weak, but like this is also like kind of hard ass shit she's pulling here.
People are very conflicted with her. Some people really don't like her because they think she's fake. She was very sweet. She's young.
It's extreme.
I like that stuff. I like the extreme stuff. I like pushing those buttons.
I wish I would have got to meet this lady because I would have totally picked her brain for a little bit on how like if this is just a thing or if she's actually this serious.
I'm pretty sure she said she wanted to take the lives of pedophiles.
I want to see, and I'm down with that. I want to see if I can find the damn. I want to see if I can find the damn video of her. I don't see it anywhere. It's almost like it's been pulled, but people are talking about it. This should be... Well, this is a picture of it right here. She just has like the flamethrower gun and she's just got it set up on some garden bricks and she's torching it. I mean, in your opinion, is this... Obviously, this isn't a national or anything, but she's attacking an entire religion.
Go for it. I was the person in support of the guys in France who posted the cartoon of Muhammad.
Do you find this at all? Do you find any similarities between this and burning a flag?
No. I mean, maybe in like Canada or in London right now. But no. I mean, I would be like, it's really gross if it's a Bible, but I'm like, also it's yours. I mean, it's gross and it's dumb if it's a Bible, but
does it change your opinion because it's not the Bible?
No.
Does it sway you in any way, shape, or form that it's a different religion other than your own?
You have every right to burn whatever you own if you're protesting. I have no.
I mean, in my opinion, books are books.
Yeah,
I don't care the cultural or social significance of things. What people deem sacred is people.
Right.
Like, you know, it's exactly. Funerals are for the living. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not for the dead guy. 100%. They're for everyone that's still alive.
Right.
You know?
Like last night, you know, Jack and Andrew were making their argument that the flag is this important symbol, and I get that, and that it should be venerated and protected. But I don't hold value in any symbol or anything in the material world. Right. Like, obviously, I want to have a roof over my kids' heads, and I want a car I can get around to work with. But like, I don't really like worship these things.
I don't either. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got respect for flags. Yeah. I was in Boy Scouts as a kid.
Right.
And they taught you to respect the flag.
I've been to funerals of family who they've given, vets who give me the folded up flag that I cherish and I have in my house.
Yep.
It's like I don't.
There's
like
ways.
Flags.
I always vet proper ways of disposal for flags. Which, ironically enough, one of them is burning the flag. Is actually how you're either supposed to bury it or burn it. Is exactly how you retire a flag, which is ironic.
Yep.
But it's the manner in which it's burned apparently that is respectful. It's a difference between a cremation and burning something alive in arson.
Yep. But and I want to say to Born a Hawkeye out there, you said, but since when is it legal to burn anything in public? That's the point. Well, Texas versus Johnson in 1989, which is what Jack was bringing up last night, they said that Johnson had every right to protest with the flag by burning it, in the street, because he wasn't. They didn't say he was inciting violence, and that's I agree with that. Even though I don't agree with Thurgood Marshall on most of the things, that he did. I think that is a right as long as you're not hurting people, And then you can talk about. That's why I was mentioning how do you define in the new executive order what likely to incite is, because we lived through J6 where Trump just saying fight like hell became violent speech rhetoric that incited J6, which I thought was insane. So, I think you have that right. And Scalia, also someone I do agree with from the Supreme Court, said that was the right. And that is how you interpret speech, because speech, according to Scalia, isn't just words, but it's actions. And they called what Johnson did a symbolic speech. And it was protest against the government. And I don't even agree with Johnson. I think he was a communist probably. And I can't stand communists. So it's a thin line, because you could start fires and hurt people, and then you should get taken away. But I think you can do it appropriately if you really want to and burn those things, because it is, it stirs up people's emotions. I mean, we spent an hour on it last night talking about it. I love that. I love that conversation. I think it's really important.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously that's the whole idea behind doing something like that, is to piss people off that aren't sharing your opinion. Mm-hmm. But it also incites violence, especially with something like burning the Quran. Mm-hmm. They're very serious about that shit.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying about the guys in France. They did the Muhammad cartoon. They killed all those people.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, these guys will retaliate in any way that they can by taking American lives.
Yeah,
you know.
And like how many times is Christianity attacked? And literally everything. You don't see a lot of that, you know, and that's a whole.
No, and I mean, religion on both sides have killed people.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
like you've seen, you know,
and there's fanatics in every religion.
The Ku Klux Klan, obviously, with the way that they were burning people, in God's name, burning crosses.
The Democrats. Yeah, I agree. But it's a heated issue. I love seeing all of the people talk about it. I've been hearing a lot of good messages. A lot of people don't agree with me. And that is totally awesome. I like, the more you don't agree with me, the more I have to think about my position, and it will make me have to shift or rethink about what I'm thinking and maybe change. I haven't yet. I feel pretty solid in what I'm saying. And then I apply it to everything, you know, even the things that are close to me. You know, I think you have that right to be offensive. I like offensive art. I like offensive writing. I tend to like people who, for whatever reason, come off as offensive, like comedians, because I think they're really good for society. But you know, that's a thin line, because it's
like
also
me. I'll be like, yeah,
degenerates.
that guy's a total asshole. He's pretty cool.
Right.
You know, like
I like it because they become a reflection for society in terms of the comedians and art like that. But
I've always just appreciated people that just don't give a fuck, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that to me has always been inspiring, is just not giving a shit, especially in the face of the mass public. Like, you know,
Right.
just, I don't give a fuck what you
Right.
people think of me. Like, whatever.
and like burning the Bible, burning the Quran. It's just a book. It's just paper. You know, you shouldn't steal it.
So you don't think it's extremist behavior at all?
People will see it that way.
Yeah.
I don't care. I think she totally can do that. Like, doesn't bother me at all.
And I mean, she did it in her backyard on her property, from what I could tell.
And then
it wasn't public.
And then the debate will be: is that, like Bill Lumberg is saying, is that considered speech? I don't know if you're talking about this right now. I don't know how far back this is, but according to Johnson versus Texas, that is considered speech. But like Jack's side of the argument last night was that is a very new interpretation of that. But actually, it does go back further, because you can look at the black armbands, which isn't really as dangerous as lighting a fire with the flag. But there are other instances throughout history of that, back to, like, you know, the Boston Tea Party being a pretty good example of like damaging other person's property. It was a pretty big deal in this country, you know, and England didn't take too kindly to it. They passed a lot of laws, but that community rallied around each other and didn't give anyone up, as far as I know, and it just radicalized them more to break away from England. So that's why I think these things are important, even if idiots are the ones doing it mostly these days, because there's gonna come a time again where we become the dissenting voice, and it might take some harsh measures to get some major change happening. And I think that's more than possible. You know, that is a cycle of life. This COVID stuff was just ours 5 years ago. I think of my grandparents in the 60s, they went through so many crises, all those assassinations and wars, and they weren't out there protesting, but like, these are major conflicts, and they drive people out into the streets sometimes. And sometimes you don't agree with those people, like the past few years with the George Floyd stuff. And sometimes you might, and we have to have those in place for those times we do agree with them. So I have to be okay with protecting the rights of the people who I hate and I know hate me. So I guess we should get another caller.
Yeah. Since we're talking about burning and it is Tuesday, let's bring on Burt Monkey.
All right.
Who it's entirely possible is David Flora. But that's just speculation.
Interesting.
Hello.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Perfect. And just first off, I just wanted to shout you guys out. You probably won't be on here once you guys hit that 100 mark here in the next couple of days. And I just wanted to congratulate you guys on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. So my story is going to start out in Central Washington in Moses Lake. And it goes back to 2015. My grandfather passed away in May. So I went to visit my grandmother with my mom for Thanksgiving that November. So we eat up dinner. They're going to bed early because they're a little bit older. So I go in their guest room and course, in the middle of the night, I wake up and I cannot move anything at all. I have the sleep paralysis, and I just scan the room, and I notice a figure in the corner of the room, and I'm like, okay, I've seen this before, or read about it, so I'm like, I'm just not going to pay attention to it and not give it any power. And so I just kind of close my eyes, but I can just feel it come near me. It's kind of like, if you imagine, like, if you guys seen Alien 3, when Ripley's kind of just in that doctor's room, and that guy just gets his head busted open from the xenomorph.
Yep.
And then it's just like staring down the side of her face. That's kind of like the sensation I felt. It was just right there. But I was able to just ignore it as possible and go back to sleep. And then 13 months later, I go back and visit, and the same thing happens in the same room. But when I open my eyes and I can't move, it's standing on top of my chest looking down at me. And I was just like, oh, close my eyes again, and just pretty much just felt the pressure of it on my chest, and was like trying to catch my breath a little bit, and then eventually was able to roll myself over and then just pass out. But yeah, kind of just had a double experience with it, and I've never experienced it outside of that house in Moses Lake. And yeah, I was 23 when it happened to me in 2015, then 24 in that December of 2016. And yeah, I haven't seen it since. And yeah, I just found it kind of interesting that it kind of first popped up when my grandfather died, because that's kind of seeming like the trend.
Yep, it is a trend. Can you describe a little more what it looked like?
It was honestly just a dark figure. It didn't have no hat. I didn't see any eyes on the thing. Like I said, I kind of, when I scanned the room and just saw it there, I'm like, oh crap, I need to close my eyes, because I was like, if I look at it or kind of feed into it, I felt like it was gonna like grant it permission to do something to me. So I'm like, I'm gonna try my best to ignore this thing.
Right. And you could feel the pressure on your chest as it was on.
I'd also like to note it did not have a hat on.
Yeah, no hat.
I am exonerated again.
Yeah, no hat at all. And yeah, I wasn't on drugs, obviously. I was visiting my parents. I wasn't drinking or nothing.
He's covering all the bases here. No hat, no drugs.
Yeah, and I've never experienced anything like any of that outside that experience. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and she doesn't see anything, and hopefully doesn't see anything here in the future. So yeah, just those two experiences. And yeah, like, I mean, the room was full of dolls too. Like, my grandma was collecting all these things, but I've slept in there before. It wasn't my first time sleeping in there. It was just that time around my grandfather's passing. And like, unfortunately, I'm not very close to my grandparents, so when he passed, it didn't really affect me. But like, because I'd imagine those things kind of feed off someone's emotions, or like, I don't know, it's kind of like, I'd call it like in The Shining, when someone shines, like it draws these things in. And I don't know if my mom was hit pretty hard about it, obviously, because it's her dad, and I just don't know if that kind of brought some kind of entity over there or what. But yeah,
they do seem to show up when there's a death.
What was that?
They do seem to show up when there's a death, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was like, I'll just bring this out there and add it to the notebook that, hey, another case surrounding this. So there is definitely a trend here.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Did anyone else ever experience anything else in the house?
Not that I know of. I know my mom experienced the sleep paralysis. I think she was working her job. She's a sorority house mom at one of the universities here, and she said it picked her up and pinned her against the wall and stuff like that. So I need to dive more into that. It's just my mom had like a injury and was prescribed some prescriptions, so I just didn't know if that played into it. Yeah.
I mean, we had that talk last night.
Like, I don't want to, not to knock off anybody who touch any substances, but that's like the first thing people roll their eyes at. And that's when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna come here and make sure, like, yo, I was sober, I haven't touched nothing, like, and experienced this thing only in this particular instant. Very interesting. Well, thank you for calling in and sharing it, man. We appreciate it. Yeah, anytime. You guys have a great rest of your night.
You too, take it easy.
Insane. What is visiting us in these crazy times?
I want to read this one because this is fun. Tim Neal, So if they burn a flag as an expression and I then punch them as an expression, we're all good then, right?
Man.
Technically, one is inciting violence and the other one is actually committing physical violence. So while I think morally you're probably okay, when it comes to legality, that's technically assault and you'll probably catch a battery charge.
Yeah, if it's self-defense, yeah.
Yeah. That's the rule. Never swing first.
Yeah.
Always get swung on first.
Sometimes though, you can't help it. Mm-hmm. You gotta swing first, unfortunately, if you want to get out of it with all your in one piece. Do we have any other callers?
Yeah, we still got a few.
All right,
I've already got names written down just in case.
Let's do another one.
So we can try to go to one more person here. Let's go to Joseph Ward. Joseph, you're on the show. Can you unmute? And to throw a couple more on top of that, what was it? Corn Pop and what was the other one? Doll? Yeah.
Was it Doll?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a three banger right there, guys.
Is he
Joseph Ward
replicating in there?
I am
Hello?
your father.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going. How
What's
are you?
up?
I'm doing all right. It's great to be connected with you guys.
Thanks
I
for
got
being
a
here.
couple of stories.
Awesome. Let's hear it.
So my ex-father-in-law was going to a Jesuit school in Brooklyn, New York. And during the time, this was like probably late 50s or so. And during this time, there was talks in the school, like rumors and stuff like that, because this exorcism had been talked about, but it wasn't confirmed. And students were like talking about it and everything else. And then the Exorcist book came out, and rumors and talks became more prevalent because there was talks about this exorcism again. And then when the movie came out, things started to really amp up because the character in the movie that was Father Harris or whatever, the younger dark-haired guy, there was a teacher in the Jesuit school that fit the description of the movie. And my father-in-law was like probably a year or two before he would have took that father's class. But so much word had stirred up that I think the church got scared, and the teacher was transferred. And he was never talked about again. They don't know if he went into priesthood or he became a priest of a parish or what. But because there was so much attention being brought up through the book and the movie that he just disappeared.
Interesting. It was either bad PR or he was connected and they had to shuffle him around.
Yeah, so like I said, it was so much publicity because the movie and the book and everything else, and it was always said that the church or the priesthood didn't want to bring any more attention than they already had, because they want to always keep that stuff kind of secretive and not let it get out to the public and become a big mainstream thing, Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. That was in New York, you said?
Yeah, Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn, New York, a Jesuit school in Brooklyn.
Huh?
Yeah, interesting. I lived in Brooklyn for a little while. Didn't know the Jesuit school. But that's wild.
And then then he got married and they moved out to Long Island. Hello, you still there?
Yeah, we're listening. I heard Long Island now. I'm like, uh-oh.
So he got married and they moved out. The husband and wife moved out to Long Island and they moved into a town called Setauket. Mm-hmm. And if you know anything about the history of the Revolutionary War and Setauket area, it was like a big spy ring there and stuff. So you could go through old graveyards and see where they had amended the old headstones because they had been shot with muskets and they had to, put them back together as time came by because they were broken in half. And there's this like big stone out there that's got bullet holes all in it where I guess they were hiding behind it, taking shots at each other.
Wow.
And there's like foundations to churches that have holes in it where the church was shot or something like that from the whole spy ring and stuff,
That's amazing. I wish I want to see that.
And they lived in a house that was a newer house in the 70s. And
obviously there's probably old houses that were there before that had been torn down and whatever else, caught on fire or whatever. But they lived in a relatively new house back in the 70s. And her and her sister and her brother, being kids, said that they saw this figure more often than their parents did. And they don't know why. They figure because maybe the kids are probably innocent and clear-minded, that they're more acceptable of seeing these things or whatever else. Mm-hmm. But they said every now and then you could go up the steps and up to the railing, and out of the corner of your eye, on the inside of the house, down at the front door, you could see a little bitty boy that was wearing revolutionary clothes, just standing there at the door. And they said that every now and then he would just show up, and then he wouldn't move or do anything or say anything. And there was no activity in the house. It was just an image that would be at the front door, like he was waiting for somebody.
That's wild.
Yeah. And then I got 2 more stories. I don't know if you want to save those stories or if you got time for me to tell you stories that were personally with me and not with my ex-wife.
We've got about 10 minutes. I mean, if you got a story you can fill time with, go ahead, knock yourself out. If we have to, we can have you call back for the other.
I'll tell you a UFO story that when I was 16 and moved to Oklahoma in 1990, and I guess it was on like the tail end, and being in Oklahoma is probably everything was like later, that would come in later in time. So like if things were happening in a national area in this small town, it was probably lingering or coming in later after everything cooled down. So it was on the tail end of the satanic panic era. And I'm a metalhead, got death metal shirt on, long hair and everything, come from the city, go to a small town, whatever.
Sweet.
Well, there's activity that's happening, and ranchers are finding mutilated cows on their property.
Oh boy.
There's also rumors of people seeing people in the woods with torches, and it could either be an occult or it could have been the Klan. Nobody has confirmed that.
Right.
But that and the mutilated cows out in the field, if you look like a metalhead or an oddball, obviously you're going to gain some attention and people are going to look at you, right? Mm-hmm. So me and my friend and another friend of ours are out in the country at my friend's house. And you can't smoke in the house if mother wouldn't allow us to smoke cigarettes in the house, so we go outside and smoke cigarettes. We're out there, and it's all dark, and you can see every star in the sky and everything else, and it was great. Every time we went out there to Ty's house, you could do this. Mm-hmm. But one night we go out there, and we're smoking cigarettes. We look up at the stars because we're always curious about, like, shooting stars or who knows what you can see and everything else. And right above his house is this humongous circle, and it had, I could have swore, like about 100 yellow lights that were kind of not facing downwards, but facing outwards, like horizontal. So they were kind of like, it almost looked like fog lights, but there was no fog. And it was all the way around this humongous circle. And you could see all the stars around this circle, but right in the middle of it, it was completely black. So there's no stars. And right in the middle of this circle was a multicolored light that would just flash different color lights. And I say about like if you're looking at a clock and you go about to 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, there was a smaller light that would do a signal of different other lights and the signal of different other lights. And one was more repetitious and one was more intermediate. Like almost like that one, they were talking, but there was no movement of this circle. And we stood there with our heads stuck to the sky for like 45 minutes before our necks got tired. And this thing never moved. It never moved quick. It never moved slow. It was just like hovering above us. But this thing was the biggest thing that I've ever seen in the sky before. So it's not comparable to a blimp or an airplane or anything. And it was humongous, to say the least. It was closer to us than the moon, but bigger than the moon being, its distance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How did it leave?
We just stayed out there for 40 minutes. Our necks got tired. We went in the house. We came back out like in 45 minutes later to smoke another cigarette, and it was gone. And we stood out there looking in the horizon in the dark to see if we could see it or anything like that. We saw nothing that was a remnants or anything. We didn't hear anything. The house didn't shake, no sound or nothing.
And forgive me if I missed this. What time of day was this? Was this at night?
Night.
Yeah, it was at night.
It wasn't. You guys didn't get like any pictures or anything of this thing?
Oh, no, there was no cell phones. This was 1990.
Oh, okay. Way back in the day, okay.
Yeah, it was 92 that this happened. But see that what we're saying, and what I'm saying is like there's cow mutilations. We saw a UFO. There's possible clan or the cult that's in the area. So I don't know if it was all like a tie-in or there was two different things going on at different times, you know, or whatever else. Maybe a cult was doing their thing over here, and maybe if these were aliens were doing cow mutilations, we're doing that at the same time, you know.
Just a busy intersection of a lot of wild things.
It was a very small town and very isolated. So almost anything could have happened there, you know. We didn't have a stoplight in the town. It was a 4-way stop. I could tell you what town it is and give you more information about it, but I think it would be irrelevant to the story.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You don't have to do that. I love all of this. It's like an old school 90s television show.
It's like a Twin Peaks type stuff.
It's a bit Twin Peaksy because it's got all these things going on in a small, perhaps quaint little town.
And then you got all the other individual things that happen with, like, whether it be drunks or drugs or whatever else, or car wrecks or anything else that was going on around that area.
With the cow mutilations, was there a bit of a panic about that? And did anyone ever figure out anything?
Because with these people and these people that were seen in the woods with torches, like I said, some people said, oh, it was the Klan. Some people said it was the occult. And with the cow mutilations, nobody saw the UFO besides us, apparently, because we were kids. We're not going to go into the small town and start saying this. They'd think we're all crazy, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody would believe us. Right. But because they saw some people saw the torches and the cow mutilations, they started to believe that everybody that was in the metalheads, because of the satanic panic, were a part of this cow mutilation. Well, obviously, none of the people that I hung out with, or me or anybody else, was pulled into any kind of police station to be questioned about it. So apparently, either these cow mutilations were dealt with on another level, or the government came in and took care of the situation, because it was talked about and it was said about and it was put in the local paper, and then it was just never heard of again, you know.
Did you ever see any of the cow mutilations?
No. They were on people's ranches, and they wouldn't take pictures and publish them in the papers.
Okay. We had someone call on the show from Texas last summer, and he sent me pictures of the cow mutilations that he was seeing, and they were very interesting. I mean, their faces were peeled back, teeth exposed, no blood, around the body, but they were mutilated. It was very bizarre. I couldn't make sense of it.
No, there were descriptions from people that had their cows taken, and adults would talk to other adults and stuff like that. And my dad was born and raised in that town, so he knew a whole lot of people, and a lot of the people that he went to school with were still living in the area. And being a fence, kind of a ranch hand himself at the time, he heard stories, and they fit the description. Internal organs were removed, reproductive organs were removed. Yeah. Parts of their bodies were mutilated and stuff like that.
Yep. It's weird. I think for those who have the stomach for it, those pictures of the cow mutilations that we had are on our YouTube page still, in like maybe the community notes, or I'm not sure where Alex posted those. It was a while ago, but they're somewhere. I think I posted them for us to see.
I've seen them from like when they were happening out in like the Southwest, like in Arizona, where they were doing that back in the time. They were being nationally published on TV, and I've seen what they look like, and they're pretty gruesome, But because I'm wearing like death metal shirts and got long hair and a leather jacket, and I just look like out of the ordinary, because most of everybody else were either preppy or cowboys, And then you got a group of people that are listening to AC/DC and Ozzy Osbourne. I'm listening to Metallica and death metal. And it's just like, if you didn't look like you fit in with the general population, you stuck out like a sore thumb. And me being from Dallas, well, it's kind of funny. This guy comes up from Dallas and all this stuff starts happening,
Yep. Suspect number one.
I think it was people that was doing that shit too. I think they were super fucked up people that were mutilating those cows.
Yeah.
Well, it was even to the point where if these kids were coming of age and getting into trouble because they were becoming teenagers. I'm 16, and they're 15 turning to 16, they're getting into certain things, maybe smoking a joint or whatever else. Well, my kid never smoked a joint to this Joe guy came up here. He's a bad influence, and, you know, they try to pigeonhole me into anything that went wrong with their children, you know?
Right. Well, that's a crazy story, man. All those stories. I appreciate you calling and sharing it with us.
Yeah, I'll call you guys back maybe tomorrow or something like that and tell you about a ghost story in Savannah, Georgia that I was a part of.
Perfect. I love Savannah. Definitely call in, man. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for my call, man. You guys have a good night.
Later.
Take it easy.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. Music recommendation, Oklahoma. One of my newer favorite bands is Chat Pile. You know about those guys? They're crazy.
Chat Pile.
And what is that? The song I love the most right now is Shame. Shame.
I was
good.
like, I thought you said Shane, and I
know,
was like,
I had to spell it.
Are you kidding me right now?
Very egotistical. No, but look, if you guys go to our YouTube page and you go over to posts, look, not really a trigger warning. I'm just letting you know if you're like with your kids or anything, don't pull it up. But if you scroll down, it's like 6 months ago, you'll see like this weird rendition of like an AI image of a spider alien demon thing. It's included in those two pictures is the cow mutilation. It's the face of the cow. And you can see its face cut off and the teeth exposed. Very bizarre. So that episode was, I guess, 6 months ago. Episode 37, the caller's name was Paul. And we go through a lot of stuff on that episode with him. So you can check that out and for those who are interested after you're done listening to some Chat Pile. Wild. How is it midnight? Is it Wednesday now?
Yeah, we are officially Wednesday.
That is crazy. Well,
so we are halfway through the week.
That's
just wild. Like that.
Dude, that was a fun one. Thank you guys so much for calling in. Apologies for those who didn't get to, but Brandon is the best with taking names down.
Already got him.
We will get to you guys mañana. Brandon, let them know where they can find you, sir.
You guys can find me, as always, at Brando Inverted on Insta and on X. Thank you guys for hanging out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out. Comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Thanks to everybody for hanging out in the chats. We do appreciate it. I loved all the banter tonight. It was great. And we will see you guys tomorrow for more epic weirdness. Shane, get us out of here.
2 more days till episode 100. Insane. Thank you guys so much for being so supportive and helping the show out. We love you all. Thank you so much for the calls, and have a great night.